Lisa. For our page today, I have 5 3x3 photos that I'm going to scatter across the page. And these photos were taken down on Hilton Head Island, and there's lots of green and nature colors in these, and I can never, almost never, find any scrapbook paper, pattern paper that goes with these kind of colors. So in fact, I really looked the last time I ordered to try to find something, and it's just very difficult. I mean, you can do wood grain papers and things, you know, something fairly neutral, but to really get a lot of pattern and stuff, it's just very, very difficult to get these natural green colors. So this is a good time to do some of our mixed media and have a little fun with the background. So I am going to do the background. You'll see that I have it drawn here as an 11 by 11 because we're going to be working with this mixed media paper. I bought this at Hobby Lobby maybe a month ago, and I just hadn't gotten around to using it. What I wanted was to see if they had some loose leaf paper that's like the art journals that I've been using. And this is actually heavier paper. It says it has the vellum surface, which is what the art journal is supposed to have, but it's actually a smoother surface. The paper here is really, those photos and stuff aside, the paper is really heavy. I keep, you know, checking to make sure I don't have 2 pieces of this out here. It's very, very heavy paper. It's almost like chipboard, a lightweight chipboard, like the old Creative Memories, the sheets that went in your albums. This is almost that thick. So, and it's, you know, if you could buy one of these with a 40% off coupon, you get a pretty good buy. I do wish this particular kind of Strathmore paper doesn't come in 12 by 12, or they didn't have it in 12 by 12. So I've got an 11 by 14, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint the whole thing, and then I'll trim some of it down. We're also going to be putting a little embellishment group on here, and then some journaling strips and the year up there at the top. So I'm going to set these aside so that I do not get paint on my photos. And let's get started with our paints. I watched an art journal video recently, or yeah, it was an art journal video, and I will link that up. And she shared a technique where she dropped some paint on the background, and she did a lot of cool things on her page. Some of them I got to replicate in my art journal, and some of them didn't work well for me. But I'm going to do a little bit of playing here with some of the techniques that she used, at least the first technique that she used, and then we're going to add some additional things that I played with this weekend in my art journal.
So I'm starting out here with just adding a few drops of paint, and this is one of the things that I got out of the video that will be linked in the description for my video. Using, in my case, a lot of different greens and browns. I wanted to go with a more monochromatic look. And I'm taking an extra piece of paper and sort of swishing or smushing, I think was the word she used, the different inks together, or the different paints, I should say, not inks. And then I'm going to add a little water to try to move them around a little bit. I was kind of testing to see how well this paper worked when you added water and things to it. It's a very smooth surface, but it's not like watercolor paper. I mean, stuff, once you put it down, it sticks. When I looked at my photos, I realized that I needed more green, more grass kind of green. And so I added some of that. And then when I was doing my art journal this weekend, I was playing with adding some iridescent paint. This is the white. And it gives you this really neat finish in addition to softening the color. It gives it kind of a smooth finish, which is going to be important to us in a few moments, because we're going to be using some stenciling. So I'm kind of spraying that green around a little bit. The other colors are still there in the background. This is where I started kind of deviating from the video of what I saw. It's wonderful, I think, to look at different people's videos and then use them as inspiration and do your own techniques. And I hope that works out for you guys when you're watching my videos, that you come up with ways of doing things yourself that you might not have thought of, and just taking an idea and kind of running with it. And what I'm doing here is taking a stencil and using a baby wipe, and then mine were a little dry, so I added a little bit extra alcohol to them to pull out some of the color. That last layer I added, I'm just pulling that away. And that gives me a really cool look. on my background. Now I tried this also with this leaf stencil, but I kind of figured this wasn't going to work. The leaf stencil is very, very detailed, and you just can't get into those little nooks and crannies that well with a towel or wipe. So what I'm going to end up doing with those is adding paint. And for some reason, this section of video came out really blurry. So I've cut quite a bit of it away, and I've speeded up as fast as I could go on my editor, but all I'm doing is just stenciling the leaves in a more regular true green color here, and then I used a little bit, I think, of the brighter green. There you go, you can see them better now, but I don't know how I got so out of focus. I didn't move my camera, I didn't think, but something happened to it. Going around the edges with a roller stamp just to add a few little dots. This is archival ink, brown, it's a Ranger ink. And I think we're matching up really good with our photos. One last thing, I'd like to add some distress ink around the edge just to sort of finish the edge off, because I've trimmed it down now to 11 by 11. Deciding on a background paper, I looked at a solid green that would just kind of keep this green theme going here, but I also have some craft paper from Michaels. Now they used to have a wonderful craft color that was the same color as Stampin' Up's. I can't find that anymore. This one is more like paper bag color craft, but it works very well with this particular layout. We're going to do a mixture of title, some thickers, and then we're going to go over to the silhouette here in a moment and do some titling work there. So I'm going to have to trim up my N. I always run out of N's and R's. But we're going to have what's new, and then we'll put the words on the island using the silhouette. In the silhouette software, I already have a scalloped circle design that I'm going to cut out and a bicycle. So I just need to make sure they're the right size. And I resized the scallop design to make it about 4 inches wide, which is what will fit on my paper, and I didn't resize the bicycle, and it's coming out just perfect. This is a pretty simple bicycle design. I had a little more complex one, but I think that I want to keep this one a little bit simpler for this page. Now I need to add my text. So I'm going to use the text tool, and we have what's new out of the chipboard letters, so then we're going to have on the island. I'd like to have this in a script font and weld the letters together. Over in my library, under my fonts, I have one called Scrap Calligraphy that looks really good for this look, because it's a little more casual font, and I think it really fits the island kind of look a little bit better. But I want to make it quite a bit larger. Let's see, that is 7.5, maybe that's a little too large. There we go. That's a good size for what I want to do. And I'd also like to curve it. And one of the easiest ways to curve this is just to use an oval. So I'm going to choose the ellipse tool and draw an oval shape. I don't want it to have a lot of curve, but a little bit. And then what we're going to do is take on the island, double click on it, and that will bring up this little position box, this little cross. And when I click and drag the cross down to the ellipse, it will just fit right on top of that, and it will shape to the shape that I have placed it on. Now in my silhouette title class, we do this actually with a curve that goes up and then down, and it's really neat look. But we're going to keep it really simple here and just do the ellipse. Right? Now I want to make sure that this is welded together, because right now, if we zoom in on this, you'll see that each letter is individual and would be individually cut. I want to take these letters, and I want to weld them together for two reasons. One, I want to get them so that they're not individually cut, and also I want to be able to remove that oval. If I remove it now, then the letters are going to go back to the way they were. For example, if I click on it and choose the delete key, then the letters don't have anything to align to, so they go back to being straight. I just did a Control Z and undid that. But I want them to be curved, which spreads them out on a little bit different arrangement. So I'm going to take my letters and right click and choose Weld. And that will put them together as groups, and some things will still be individual, like my question mark over here, but that's okay. Then I can take my ellipse and delete it, and on the island stays in that curved format. So now when I take it and place it on my page, I can still have that kind of look on the page. So now I'm ready to cut these out in some different papers. So I'm ready to start assembling this page. I decided I wanted to mat the photos, and I'm not going to show you gluing everything down. I typically don't do that on my videos, but I did want to share this one. These papers where you add a lot of paint, they tend to curl, and so they take a lot of adhesive. And what I often do is use the 3/8 inch glue dots. So they're the big round flat glue dots to hold that. So I did some of that and some tape runner, and that's held up very nicely. It did still curl the whole thing because that background, that cardstock that I was referring to a while ago, it's not very thick. It's not as thick as the usual Recollections cardstock, so it kind of curled along with the paper, but it's still going to work out fine, and of course it's going to be in the album when it's done. So kind of, again, laying everything out here and figuring out how it's going to go. On the island, it's going to be curved a little bit. Now, if you really wanted to get a precise curve, you could actually cut out the oval as well and lay that down as a template, but I didn't really feel like that was necessary for this page. Just going to put a little bit of Distress ink around the edge of my scallop circle, and I felt like it needed something more. I looked in my designer paper before I cut this, and I didn't have a wood grain unless I would have to cut up a whole big sheet full of wood grain that looked right, so I'm just doing a wood grain stamp for that paper and adding a little bit of visual texture to it. I have lots of My Mind's Eye brads. I really like them, and so I found one there that has some of those little papers that come with some of the brads. I don't always use those. A lot of times I just pull the brad out, but in this case I think I have one that looks good with the bicycle and in the right colors there, and pulls a little bit of the yellow out. That background paper, there was supposed to be a green paint, but it came out kind of yellowish. The photographs lap over the sides as shown on the sketch, and I'm just going to trim those off. And I want to put a few word stickers on there. Some things related to being out in the sun and just enjoying our day on the island. The bicycle's relevant because we saw almost all these places on our bike.
Okay, I went ahead and put my journaling on here, and I put the little bicycle thing up here with the date. Used a sticker with some scalloped edge to kind of go with this one, and that is my page. And I really like how this background came out. It's got some shine to it, depending on how the light is catching it. And I think it goes, that all the dimension there goes really well with some of the photos and all the detail that are in each of these little photos. So got everything in from the sketch. Even my little paper clip. I was about to forget that. If I hadn't put that on the sketch, I would have forgotten my very last 2 peas in a bucket arrow paper clip. I love those. And I only ever got them in one color. So anyway, that is my page for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, I'd love to get a thumbs up. If there's something you don't like and you've watched it all this time, let me know, because I'd like to improve wherever I can. Thanks again. Bye.